Hey guys! All right, so we are skipping lesson 20. I don't think that it was important information, so we're just going to go ahead and skip that and move on to lesson 21. Today we're going to be doing the first page of lesson 21 problem set. For this, you'll need some crayons, blue, yellow, green, and red if you're doing this with me. If not, you can just watch me. I posted a picture of it on Dojo for you to just look at the end result as well. So that you don't have to try to pause the video to try to catch up with me. You can just look at that Dojo picture. Okay, so the fraction number lines are already done for us, and they've already divided all of the fractions for us. For today's lesson, we have to label the missing fractions. The only thing that might be a little confusing on this is keeping track of what lines are for halves and what lines are for fourths. So on the top one, we're doing halves. You can see all the denominators are halves, and all the halves are marked with a solid line. So at 0, we'd have 0 halves. 1 half is already done. 2 halves is already done. At the next line, we'd have 3 halves, and 4 halves is already done. So all of the solid lines were halves. Now we're going to label all of the solid and dotted lines with fourths. And the reason we're doing the solid and dotted lines is because remember back on that lesson 18, when we want to make halves into fours, we're going to half every one again. So let me draw a picture of that. We have a pie or a pizza and we half it. We want to half it again to make fourths. So that's what they've done with all these dotted lines. So 0 halves and 0 fourths are at the same line. The next dotted line would be 1 fourth. 2 fourths is at 1 half. 3 fourths is already labeled. 4 fourths is at 2 halves. 5 fourths, 6 fourths is at the next line. 7 fourths and 8 fourths is at 2 wholes, because 8 divided by 4 is 2 and 4 divided by 2 is 2. Remember that fractions are another way to write division sentences. So in this next one, we're at halves and 6. Halves again are on top. Halves are only being shown by the solid lines. So we have 0 halves, 1 half, 2 halves is at 1 because that's equal to 1 whole. 3 halves, and 4 halves is written at 2 wholes. Then we have sixth. Now, for this, to make halves into 6, you have to half it twice. So here's a picture. We have halves. Excuse me. We would have to do 2 lines to make 6. We're going to do the same thing with our number line. First, we started out with halves, and we're going to put 2 lines in between each section to now make 6. 0, 6, 1, 6, 2, 6 does not have a spot for us to label. That can be confusing. So if you want to go ahead and write that 2, 6 just to keep track of it, you can. 3, 6 is at 1 half. 4, 6 doesn't have a line. 5, 6 doesn't have a line. 6, 6 is at 1 whole. 7, 6 doesn't have a line. 8, 6 doesn't have a line. 9, 6 is at the same point as 3 halves. 10, 6 does not have a line. 11, 6 does not have a line. And 12, 6 is labeled at 2 wholes. So this next part you're going to need crayons for. I'm using my daughter's Princess crayons. Like I said, if you don't have crayons, it's okay. So we're going to color all the fractions equal to 1 half blue. Sorry, my camera's shaking. So here's 1 half. So we have 1 half, 2 fourths, 1 half, and 3 6. They are all on the same spot on the number line as the half point. Then we're going to do all the ones equal to 1 whole, yellow. So here's my 1 whole. All of them up and down this line are 1 whole. 2 over 2, 1 whole, 4 fourths, 2 halves, 1 whole, and 6 6. All of them are 1 whole, because if you were to eat 6 out of 6 cupcakes, you ate the whole thing. Then we have green. We want to do the ones that are equal to 3 halves. Well, here's 3 halves. Everything that shares the line with 3 halves is equal to 3 halves. 6 fourths, 3 halves, 9 sixths. And then we have the ones equal to 2 wholes, red. Here's our 2 wholes line. Everything along these lines is equal to 2 wholes. So now whenever we get to the bottom, it's going to be easy to compare our fractions. 2/4 is equal to what fraction with a denominator of 6? So I'm going to go to my 2/4, look along that line, and which fraction has the denominator of 6? 3/6. So 2/4 and 3/6 are equal. 6/6 is equal to, looking at your number line, 6/6 is equal to 2/2. And what other fraction? 4/4 is also equal to 6/6 and 2/2, which are all equal to, if we were in class, you would answer me 1/2. And then we have 3/2. Looking for all the fractions that share the same line on the number line with 3/2, we have 9/6, because the denominator was already given, so 9/6 goes here. And which one has a numerator of 6 is 6/4. So these are all the fractions that are equivalent to 3/2. So the way we know these are all equivalent is looking at our number line. Remember, another way that you can do this is that trick I showed you yesterday is the butterfly method. So for example, let's say I want to compare 3/2 and 9/6. I would draw a butterfly using my numerator and denominator, and 6 times 3 is 18, put your answer on top. 9 times 2 is 18, put your answer on top. And 18 and 18 are the same number, so they are equal. This is how to check yourself. This is how to understand that the fractions are equal. So tomorrow we're not going to have a lesson. Tomorrow would be Friday. You will just practice math facts at home in any method that you choose. You can do something fun with your parents. You can do an app on an iPad. You can make some flashcards and practice with them. I'll also maybe try to make a fun video tomorrow just to introduce you maybe to my daughter and just kind of touch base and let y'all just see what goes on in my daily life while I'm at home missing you guys. So I hope that y'all are having a good little break. I hope that we get to see you soon. Have a good weekend.